Welcome everybody to another episode of Carbonite Bounty BS with me and the nerds here. How's everyone doing this week?
Oh, so good.
Hey, great, awesome.
Good, good, man. Big week for Star Wars again. Two shows for everybody, so I hope everybody's excited. But before we dive into this ending of season three, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us if you haven't already subscribed or found us yet.
Nerdcyclopedia.com. People, make sure that you're going to that site and checking out all our links to all your favorite social media platforms. Nerds at Nerdcyclopedia on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and also that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you're watching us on Facebook, make sure that you are liking us. Also, if you're all on Facebook, go to that Carbonite Bounty BS group. We have a group page that, we have a really good following there that actually gets down and dirty in the memes and like the comments and all the, great Sarlacc material and stuff right on there. Make sure that if you are listening to us in the car on your way to work, you are subscribing to us on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Google Play, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, we are there. And leave us some personal feedback. Nerds at nerdcyclopedia.com.
Good stuff, good stuff. And before we get going into this episode of the season finale of Rebels, just something we talked off mic real quick. And I know Hitch has a different opinion, Boba Fett has a different opinion, and DP is a neutral. We discussed has a different opinion. Just real quick before we jump into this, Hitch, you kind of were speaking on to it. What are your initial thoughts of kind of some of this backlash you're hearing from, I guess, the episode one of Boba Fett being a little anticlimactic to most, or to some, I'll say. But just real quick, what were your thoughts? Because I know it's kind of buzzing around the internet pretty quickly.
I don't get it. And here's why. This needs a setup. And everybody knows that the least satisfying answer to a question is the answer you get. That's just how it is with these sorts of things. And Boba Fett's escape from the Sarlacc pit was going to strike a sour note once you show it. Once you know what he did, it's gonna strike a sour note. And I just think that there was no way that wasn't going to be anticlimactic. And I just don't know how else they could have treated it. To me, what's interesting about this character isn't how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, because we knew that happened because we saw this character. What's interesting is what's going to happen next. And I think that having to dispense with this expository explanation that makes sense bogged down the plot we wanted to see, which is moving the narrative forward, what happens next with Boba Fett. And I think that need to loop back and fill us in when, it should have gotten its own treatment at some point, messed with the plotting. But all that being said, shut up. Because
anticlimactic. What was anticlimactic about his struggle to get himself out of that stomach? I mean, come on. He sucked air from a dead stormtrooper's breathing tube.
Melting helmet. The melting helmet.
That was probably the most survivalist, military, mercenary, do it yourself because no one's going to help you scene. It was great. I thought it was great. He crawled his way out of it. He blasted his way out of it, crawled his way to the sand. What was anticlimactic about that? It wasn't like he got out of there and then, like, I don't know, he was like perfectly fine. He was basically almost dead doing all this. It was a great montage. The whole opening sequence of that episode was homage to the original roots of Star Wars. It picked up right where we all thought it should pick up. Right when Jedi ended, Luke burying his father and burning, and there was one unanswered question. What about Boba? What happened to him? He was the only loose end that wasn't tied up. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was anything anticlimactic. So, as T. Mitch said, shut up and watch it. Enjoy it.
Is it just that it was only a half an hour or
I
something?
think, yeah. And
Oh,
we'll get into
piss off.
DPs. Yeah, right.
You didn't even have to go anywhere. It's in your house.
Yeah,
And
you can watch it
and I'm not
again.
even talking about like,
Yeah, you
you
can
know,
watch it again. Make it a
I don't
movie.
even want to
Again,
talk
it's
about
like
the
an
quality
hour.
of the damn thing. It's
Yeah.
Boba Fett in your house. And frankly, you know, when they did this in the 70s, it sparked $100 trillion of action figure sales. So I think that we should be cognizant of the fact that this was a cultural landmark. And I think that, you know, if there's anything to be said, is that the dissymmetry of our anticipation in this story is what cost us, because we really, 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 really wanted to see what happened to Boba Fett, like Boba Ken said. We've been waiting for 40 years to find out what happened to Boba Fett. And, you know, as far as what's going to happen next, it's just going to be anticlimactic no matter how you cut that. So this is one of the big capital A answers that the EU had to figure out, the expanded universe had to figure out in the 90s. And they did a similar parallel job where it was, you know, not super different from what we're seeing here. So in a lot of ways, I think that it's also an adaptation that's going to fit in with the spirit of how this character has been portrayed in the extra movie media. So I just don't see this as being like, I don't know. I think it's just wah. You know, we want more than we got, and we want it now. And there's just a lot of Veruca salts out there that want to either have their cake and eat it too. And frankly,
nice Wonka reference there. Very good. You always
and
got to
frankly,
work Wonka in there.
we just had a worldwide pandemic that forced the shutdown of production of almost everything for 12-month stretches of time in unpredictable ways, and they got it done. And nobody's talking. And I mean, it's this pretty satisfying story as far as escaping a slow death when the person forcing you to be in there is gone, right? I mean, it makes sense because Jabba's not there to make sure you don't crawl out of the damn thing, to shoot you down when you do that stuff.
I think for the most part, people have a bad case of head canon, is what they call it. You know, you got everything like up in your head on how it's supposed to go and how and what the outcome is supposed to be, or what you imagine it in your head. Then when it comes out on paper or what you see on TV or whatever, or in movies, and it's not what you expect, you immediately get upset, or you know, it's just becomes a thing. And to complain about somebody else's art, you know, or the way is you're just setting yourself up for, like, you know, disappointment. So I mean, it is like still Hitch was saying, I mean, it is what it is. Be happy. It's in your home. You're paying only $6.99 to $9.99, whatever you're paying for it every month. You know, be happy with the content that you weren't getting before.
Yeah.
Right. I think though, DP, as you said, is a neutral though. I think the problem is this is what you get. You get a lot of new fans, right? Like you know, well, we have people that just caught on, you know, who's this Boba Fett guy? What's this? You know, a lot of people they skipped, you know, the analogy is, you know, you jumped on the ship before you learned how to walk across the bridge, right? So you're already on the ship and you don't know anything, but you want to be the captain, right? So it seems like a lot of people, and this is just my opinion, watch The Mandalorian, saw the cliffhanger at the first episode, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, this is what Star Wars is about. So then you fast forward to this Boba series, and you're like, oh, I've heard about this guy. I saw the figurines. I saw the helmets. And then you watch that first half hour, and you're like, this is Star Wars. This is kind of boring. Not in my opinion, but that's what I would see maybe from a neutral. But as our aspect, it's one of those things like right now, I think the story is at a point to where you can't skip steps. You know, this is 40 years of answers or questions. You know, The Mandalorian just came out and kind of patched things up. This answers 40 years of answers. So for a lot of people to come on as new fans right now, I think, and kind of feel jaded of what they've seen, I find it a little, like you're saying, I find it disrespectful to the arts. I think part of it was a lot of people aren't happy with Robert Rodriguez outside of Star Wars, and maybe that's a slight, but I think the episode was great. I was happy with it, and I'm excited for, you know, tonight, another, looks like, 5 hours here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to belabor because we still gotta, you know, we're talking about like Rebels and stuff, but me and my wife watched it the first episode, and it was just man to her, you know. So the next episode, if she decides she wants to watch it, you know, I mean, it wasn't much left to say, okay, well, I'm excited to come back next week, you know, about that. And that's, coming from a super casual, doesn't. Why is he wearing a Mandalorian's helmet? What is that all about? So
Right.
It's all this. You're right. If you don't really know, if you don't have a lot of build up expectation about who Boba Fett is and what Boba Fett does, then I can understand how that would leave you, not sort of understanding, not understanding that you should just care about Boba Fett because he's Boba Fett, right?
Yeah,
And for
Boba
those
Fett does what he wants.
Right. He doesn't care if you care about him or not, right? That's the cool thing. That's why it's so cool. But Boba Fett, we all know that whatever happens to this character is important. And so that sale job is done. 100%, we buy it. And then for, like you said, for Mrs. DP, perhaps there was some more convincing to be done.
That'll be in episode 3. When she'll be completely convinced, and then she'll be willing to watch every episode.
She'll be hook, line, and sinker.
What happens if there's another? What happens if there's another Baby Yoda though? Right at the end of episode 2, and I think there's just another one, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're doing it again!"
Right there.
That's merchandising. That's all that is.
Well, the demand went up. So
if you want more revenue, just make another one.
Yeah, there you go. But let's get to Rebels here.
But jumping into Rebels here, though, guys, in this last set, I mean, it's kind of, we discussed it offline. Maybe this is the best series ending we've had in some of the Star Wars kind of seasons. Animated, we'll say. Let's not go there. So we'll just say animated seasons we've had so far. A little bit of everything. We finish up on Mandalore. We see the Ghost and the Rebels, kind of meeting up. We have a little bit of, some droid action. We have ObiWan, it's Thrawn. There's a little bit of everything. So I kind of like how they kind of summed up a full season in, these last 5 or 6 episodes. In like we're discussing in, other avenues, it kind of leaves you wanting more, right? I really like this run. What did you think about that, Boba?
Absolutely, I loved it. I mean, this set of episodes. I mean, it brought everything together. The story. They're starting to meld in A New Hope. There's all these really intense callbacks, I guess, to Kenobi, Maul. We've seen some loose ends tied up. I loved Callus. I mean,
oh yeah,
come on. What a great way
hate the guy to loving the guy. I mean,
to take this character and then to double the focus. So now what is he? I don't know. He could be playing both sides of the field, right? We don't know. Great pivotal point there, because it kind of took me by surprise. I was like, he would be the last person, Agent Callus. He'd be the last person. I loved seeing the Colonel Uthura brought in, because he was at the round table with Tarkin and Vader on the Death Star. So getting some backstory on the Empire, because me as a fanboy, I'm kind of I like the Empire. I think they're cool. A lot of technology. I like the ships. Lots of cool ships in this last series too.
Yep.
Star Destroyer blockade. I mean,
Super Tie, the Interdictor. I mean, we got a lot of Y-wing stuff to Ion. I mean, yeah, you're right. This had ships galore.
Yeah, and to T. Mitch, all the different. I mean, they were bringing things in and tying things up properly, right? You're the guy that likes to see everything in line, and I want if you're gonna make a statement. I want it backed up with something, and I think they were doing it really well in this last 7 or 8 episodes, whatever this was. I mean, and I love when you do a 2-parter at the end. That's great. That's really great. So I thought it was great, wonderful.
DP knows I'm the king of 2-parters, right? We discuss that on I think every different channel we cover, but yeah, 2-parters are I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, it was a great back half, back third of the episodes there. My favorite episode was I'm not a big droid fan, when they focus on the droids or anything of the sort. I'm not too much of this is the robot android episodes and stuff, so I'm not going to get too much from this. But AB5, oh my goodness, man, he just had me dying with his sarcasm and his arrogance. You know, the entire episode with him and Chopper. I was just like,
Ah,
wow. I mean, and I already spoke about it a few episodes. I said, you know, this guy, whoever this new robot guy is, he's pretty hilarious. And then they had a whole episode to focus on them too. You know, just the way he responds, and you know, him and Chopper just chopping it up and everything. It was one of the highlights of the last third. I really like his and the way he moves and everything, just like a stiff robot would. I mean, I can't sing enough of the praises of AB5. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters so far. Love the way the ending, just wrapped itself up as if it was like a movie. I mean, Filoni and them have a way of making us feel with these endings of seasons and stuff like you're in like a movie, and the way a movie should end, wrapping and tying everything up and having the feel good moments and leaving like the little cliffhangers and stuff. Of course, I'm loving Thrawn. But I had some Thrawn, some Thrawn questions and stuff. Like, as smart as powerful as adept as this guy is, it just doesn't seem to me that he should be taking orders from Tarkin, like how he is and I mean, he shouldn't be like a Empire soldier. I mean, captain or commander or whatever he is. He should just be on his own to me, So it's just kind of funny seeing him take orders and stuff. Because he's such a strategist. He's really
exactly. He's a strategist. He's not very good with people.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's not a good communicator. He's very into himself.
Oh yeah.
Tarkin is charismatic. I mean, when Tarkin speaks, everybody listens to him at the we saw it in the Death Star at the Round Table. I mean, he's a leader.
Yeah.
Thrawn is techie, and he's got a lot of power, and he's got his own thing, but he's not very. I mean, he's in his room battling his droids by himself.
Right. I love the way he responded to that. I forget the big. And the lightning guy, what was
Bendu.
Bendu. Okay, yeah. I love the way he responded, because he didn't respond like out of fear. Okay, we got to run away and get away from this big gargantuan thing that we don't know, and we have no idea how to take on. He was like, aim for the eye of the storm and take this thing down. Let's just take it down. And then the Lindo was like, well, I see you. I see what's going to happen and everything. And Thrawn, being as arrogant as he is, thinks he's going to like just destroy him with like just a pistol or whatever. And he just disappears and stuff. Lindo and everything. And then there, that's that. But just the way Thrawn just responds and reacts to it is really it just shows a lot of character with the way they do this particular villain there. I was loving the back third of this show.
I think what's really cool about this back half is that there's so much even more that we're not even. The droid filler episode was great, like you're saying, and if I asked for something specifically by name, it was a heist episode that felt like a Wraith Squadron episode with Wedge Antilles. And that was episode 19, Double Secret Droid, Secret Agent Double Agent Droid, which was great. I think Josh Gad played the computer tech that everybody hates. A real nice reprise of Nick Burns, your company's computer guy, Star Wars style. One thing I've really appreciated for all these cartoons we've been watching is what a data spike is very clear to me now. And that was always something that was like, in Star Wars, they're slicers, not hackers, right? And that was always something that in the books I'd be like, whatever a data spike is, it just whatever. But now seeing them, I get it. It's a spike. That's one thing I've really enjoyed. I enjoyed seeing Mon Mothma. So another link back into the original trilogy, seeing how she got her start. And why is she so important to the rebellion? Well, she's the one that stood up and said no more, and that's why she's an important figure. So this answers a big question that was left over there. And of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi showing back up here. And
Kenobi.
And, you know, it's funny because, you know, people forget stuff. My wife was like, why is he so... Because she hasn't been watching these with me. So she was just watching this one. And she goes, why does he hate Obi-Wan Kenobi so much? And I was like, he cut him in half. Like, that's an easy one. Like, we get why he's obsessed with pursuing Kenobi, right? We saw, you know, an ant-sized Luke Skywalker. Really, really cool there. Really great episode. And then 0 Hour was excellent too. The counterplays. And to your point about Thrawn not being able to manage people don't want to listen to him because even though he's smart, they don't like him, and they want to succeed despite him instead of with his help. And that is what's dooming him to failure because his plan is pretty great, but if people won't follow it, you know,
it's all for naught. You're not going to get
all for naught.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so to see that like sort of foreshadowed by him even saying that, do exactly what I say, and knowing like there's no way that's happening, right? Like they wouldn't have said that. Really, really, really awesome. I like seeing the Y-Wings in action. How about the Y-Wings being a formidable fighting force instead of obsolete trash? Target practice for Darth Vader, right? Like so much better.
Well, they were the bombers. They were the rebel version of the TIE bombers. So
yeah.
And I had one. I had the one. It was in 1978 die-cast Y-wing with. You got one little stainless steel bomb that came with it, and you lost it within a week because you would drop it and it would roll across the floor and disappear. It was gone. Now I think that thing sells for like $500 on eBay. I don't even know where mine is. But yeah, Y-wings that was nice seeing them attack that Star Destroyer and really take a number on it. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Ion cannons work, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they ran through that. They ran through that nebula too in this set.
Yep.
And so there was all that shield interplay with the new TIE fighter. I mean, this was a really, really, really good set of episodes, and all of that ignores that we saw, you know, more of the plot of Mandalore, which is, of course, as we discussed already on our show now, very important because of the Boba Fett stuff that's going on in our current historical moment where we are recording this. So just jam full of stuff, you know, some cool Force stuff. Darth Maul, the end of Darth Maul, question mark.
Yeah, is it really the end? And would it be Kenobi that would, the second time, take him out?
Isn't this all just a waste, Kenobi? Well, I don't know if it's a waste or not. I'm here to... Let me show you this boy over here. And then this was like, aren't we like exactly the same age? Shut up and get out of here. No one wants you around. I don't know why he's Ringo.
So, yeah, I don't know why he sounded like Ringo. Peace and love.
I'm thinking about like timelines, and I don't know why it just struck me. How old is like Fennec Shan? Because we're in the current timeline with Boba Fett. Well, if you want to call it current or whatever, we're in the timeline with Boba Fett, but we see this character way back in the Bad Batch, right? Which happened right after.
That's 26 years.
26. Okay, so wow, woo. Man,
she looked good, right?
Or maybe 29. 29
she
years.
Sorry. For 26 years.
Yeah, so she's like 104 or something.
Aliens, man.
Yeah, okay, so Rebels happens when? Rebels happens before.
It's like 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. Mm-hmm. So it's like
so is that before this timeline with Boba Fett? Huh?
It's 14 years before the Boba Fett show.
Okay.
It's 9. That's 9 years after Battle of Yavin, and this is 5 years BBY. Or it might be less years BBY. It might be 3 now.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's about 3 now. I think 4 to 5. You're right. You're pretty close.
It's an estimate, right? I'm not sure. Listen,
right,
the galaxy far, far away. It's not like we have a calendar.
Right.
I mean, the point is, she looked great for her age, you know. So
whatever it is,
you know. Yeah. Well, I mean, the appearance of ObiWan was great to see. I didn't expect him to be as old as he was, but I'm remembering, okay, this timeline here, he's definitely going to be as old as he was. Definitely didn't expect the different voice, you know, character. voice, actor to characterize him, but it was still great to see him nonetheless. Just any old school Star Wars character, when you see him come on the show, it's just a pleasure to see, and to actually give him some run, some actual story, involved instead of just like a regular cameo appearance and everything. It's a good thing to see. That was a very good episode.
Yeah, I think the interesting dichotomy we talk about with Thrawn as well is you see, and like you've asked a question. I mean, why does he like kind of fall under, you know, Grand Admiral or actually General Tarkin at the point now? I mean, the crazy thing about the Chiss is you don't really understand him yet. I mean, this is before essentially the Emperor discovers the unknown regions and what it's all about. So, I mean, think about it. The guy can't be read by, the Sith or the Jedi. So a mind trick won't work on him. They can't really read him at all, which is, probably which starts maybe his thoughts or even, Palpatine. Because like we said, I mean, this episode and these episodes of Rebels and this getting further into Thrawn, it starts to make you wonder more and more as a fan, about his race, about the unknown regions, about, Palpatine's thoughts. Because at this point, like you said, the unknown regions to him is maybe something that he may feel, as he said, I believe in the later films about a dark energy from afar, far away. So this is kind of like, letting the breadcrumbs to where he eventually, goes and seeks that, maybe final or, infinite Sith power he desires. So it's really like we said in this end of this season, setting breadcrumbs for Palpatine's story. Kind of closes a little bit of the mystery of Thrawn because now we have a little more development into him, and we will see him in live action a lot more, I'm sure. So I was just pleased to see how they kind of, well, like we discussed, gave Thrawn a little bit of time, a little bit of development, because I think he's one of those characters. It's kind of like Fett, a little bit of cult character, the blue, the kind of his skin has always been a mysterious kind of look. And it's one of those things I'm interested to see moving forward. So yeah, I really like any kind of Thrawn action I see.
And Thrawn got beat here the same way Kylo Ren gets beat in episode 8, right? He instead of bombarding them, he goes down on the surface and gets too involved, and then everyone escapes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a history repeating itself.
Yeah. When you put all your eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
when that basket goes down, I mean, you can see it. You can see him throwing everything he had at one point, right?
Right.
Instead of keeping with the blockade. And I guess there was what's that one officer's name that actually started the whole thing? He moved his ship out of position to plug the hole, I guess, so to speak. That was the end of it. So once you deviate from the plan, then you've got to patch it up the best way you can. I think that was the end of that. He should have had everyone hold to the blockade. That would have kept the rebels contained.
He told him to, and they didn't listen, and they got rammed by Commander Saito, who went out should have gone to hyperspace. That's much more damaging, but that's okay. You didn't think of that. Amazed me that when that happened again in episode 8. Man, there's a lot of plot points that are pretty similar. Did this come out like 3 weeks before that, and they were just trying to test the storyboarding or something? There's a lot of similarities here.
It was 8 years before, right? No.
No. Because this came out no,
in the beginning of 17, right? Spring 17, yeah.
And Last Jedi would have been about then too. 17 because Skywalker was 19.
Yeah, so they did. Did they use the same?
I mean, it's as we're speaking. I mean, it's very parallel. So,
they get away with one transport worth of stuff, but they make a huge dent in the Imperial fleet and discredit the main leader of the. I mean, that sounds pretty parallel-y to me.
I mean, would we call this a free hit then for them? This would be like a free hit to see how it stuck. I mean, but once again, at this point, a lot of people weren't watching this, so.
Yeah. Test run everything.
So here's a message: if you haven't watched this, watch it. This is important.
You're already on watching us on season 3, part
Jedi
3.
Escapes out the back door. Secret teachings. Imperial spy. I don't know, guys. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Imperial probes. I love that. I wanted to talk about that. The probe with the droid sitting there. The doors open. There's the droid talking Imperial. Blah 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 blah. How cool was that? That guy. I want that job. Like I wanted to just be sent out and scan some area and talk gibberish and then send it back and then go somewhere else. I mean that droid had it made.
It's kind of like the mall security cop.
Technology. I never thought of that.
It's like the mall security cop that scans like the little barcodes, when he's walking by.
Right. Just
yeah.
It was very cool. I mean, that was something I'd not seen or read in any comic book or anything that I'm versed in. I never saw any tech like that. That was cool.
I like the face opened up. Those things are creepy, man. With like the red lights with their eyes. It's unsettling.
I mean, how creepy were these storyboards? I mean, some real sicko is like drawing this stuff. This is a cartoon, but it's scaring me. So it's really like, it's not really for kids. And we say the word cartoon a lot. This is not a cartoon.
This is not for kids. And we soft pedaled this last week because we had more fun things to talk about, but they did reveal a genocide last week. You know what I mean?
Like an entire race, right?
Yeah. That we saw and spent time with and could tell they were, intelligent. So they're definitely not pulling punches. People are getting blown up and sacrificing themselves all over the place and injured and smashed and crushed and
Santos that cut that Star Destroyer in half and just kissed his life goodbye. That was a big moment in this last set because he's been in this entire series, right? He's been there. Basically their rebel leader for 3 entire seasons, and now he's dust. He's just a memory now. I like the guy. He had a cool accent.
Wasn't that another tie-in though to the episode 9 when she sacrificed herself on the ship?
Yeah,
she did that. Laura Dern, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, yep, she did the same thing. So maybe Hitch is onto something. We found something out.
Damn.
We discovered something, Disney. Now
anyway, it's good here. I get a bunch of shit about my thing, so not bad.
That was.
I need a bookend, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what this comes down to. We'll be okay.
The ghost of the sequel trilogy. Getting back to Callus though.
Callus.
Yeah, getting back to Callus. I love a story of when they can build a character as a non-believer in the beginning, and then he ends up being a believer in the end. Callus was a love-hate. It was a character that wasn't too particular on when he was introduced. He was arrogant. He was very, straight to the point. Followed orders, to the T. And he asserted his personality as such. So it was just somebody like, wow, this guy, he's a real D. And then the Zed episode with him and Zed getting stuck on the planet that came. That was one of the greatest episodes of the season to me. Of the way it just of the way that he got his explanation on. He got some questions asked to him on why are you doing the things that you're doing. Instead of just following orders, Zeb was able to bring questions to his philosophy and everything, instead of just following orders, we'll ask these questions. Why is the Empire doing what they're doing? And thus, Callus has to think about certain things after he gets off that planet, splitting away from, Zed and everything. And he starts his journey to his redemption, if you want to call it that, of being a believer into what the rebels are going through, and what the rebels' way are, and actually sacrifice himself to have Kanan actually come to him and say, Callus comes and says, thank you for taking me in. He's being real humble at that point. Mm-hmm. Kanan comes and says, dude, thank you for sacrificing everything that you had. You could have got yourself killed, for coming over to us and everything. Thank you for sacrificing yourself to come over to help us out and defeating this aspect, of the Empire and everything. And it was a great thing to see because, and as Ken said, we don't know if he's being a double agent playing both sides at this point. But
because what's his code name?
Fulcrum.
What's a fulcrum? A fulcrum is a pivot point that can go either direction,
either way, and everything. So far as we're seeing it, we're seeing him, over on the rebel side and everything. It would not surprise me if he reverses step and everything. But it would be a great. If this was a Plan of Thrones, I mean, it's fantastic because it's totally fooling me. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from that development of that particular character all the way to what we've seen into to the end there.
And Hitch is another tie-in. Who does Callus remind you of now?
Fake Wolverine.
Other than Wolverine?
Well, no, I mean as far as in the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, like that stupid
General
general.
Hux.
Yeah.
General Hux, literally. So we.
I want him to lose because he's bossing me around, even though he's much more powerful than me.
Yeah.
I deserve to be in charge.
So it's like another parallel. He's kind of like General Hux. I mean, it's the parallels are now that we're tying it in, it's not really alarming. It's a little shocking that how close the stories are. I mean,
but didn't Hux his motivation was he didn't want either side to win. He just wanted Kylo Ren to lose.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted. He could care less. He just hated that guy. He was like, so if we all can go back to high school and there was always one kid that was always better than you at everything, and you didn't care what had to be done, but you wanted that kid to fail.
Yeah.
Somehow. Everybody knew that guy, right? Yeah. Or girl. Could have been male, female, doesn't matter. So Hux, that's a great call out. But I think the difference is Callus actually wants to pick a side. He wants to be either with the rebels or with the Empire, but Hux just wanted Kylo Ren to fail. That's all he wanted. He was the guy on the recess that would just like sneak an extra dodgeball and like whack you in the back of the head when you least expected it.
Later on, they'd beat you at everything and you'd hate him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you'd do anything to see him fall on his face.
Right.
It didn't work. Let's see if it works for Callus.
Yeah, hopefully. And leading into this season, season 4, I won't even say series finale because there's rumors, coming up now about what happens with Rebels. But as we dive into season 4 here, I mean, just some quick initial thoughts. What do you guys think? And I mean, obviously, I'd like to see the conclusion of what happens on Mandalore, right? Because we're kind of still left hanging a little bit. So hopefully they tie that up. I know a lot of you guys have said you kind of want to hear maybe some finality to the story of Callus. What are you guys' some early thoughts on season 4? Because I believe we're going to do 2 runs, like the first 8, maybe the second 7. So what are you guys' initial episodes? Yeah.
I want to see an X-wing.
A real X-wing fighter. I want to see the direct tie-in. So they're now heading to Yavin. So I want to see the whole prep of that battle to destroy the Death Star. I want to see them tie Rebels into Rogue One into A New Hope. Tied up with a really nice "May the Force be with you" bow. That's what I want to see. Because we're close.
We are.
They're talking about it, and the technology is there. The soundtrack is there. We have the characters in place. We've been introduced to everyone. Tarkin, Kenobi. Ezra is Luke. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that character is like, so we're getting some call outs to all our favorites. We're seeing things that remind us of those. of A New Hope. So I want to see this all tied up. I don't know. It will, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna watch this whole thing tonight. And the Book of Boba episode 2.
He's staying up all night. He's off, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not tuning in tomorrow. That's it.
Hands off. What are you thinking, DP?
Yeah, I'm ready to see some more Mandalore stuff. You know, Sabine stuff is like, you know, hanging in the wind right there. You know, her relationship with her mom. You know, that whole thing. You know, it was pretty decent to see her getting back with her family and then deciding to go back and help the rebels and everything. It's a great thing to see those character traits, you know, remain, and when they spotlight, you know, those type of characters. This one thing about Filoni and them, they don't lack on character development. They don't lack on, you know, making sure that, you know, you can focus on certain characters and make them actually care. Now, like I said, for me actually to care about robot androids and stuff has to be saying something. So I'm excited to see some more Mandalore and to get that thing resolved. We kind of get an indication based on what we've seen with the Mandalorian, where Ahsoka is, and her trying to find Thrawn or whatever. So something has happened between, you know, Rebels and when we see her, you know, in the future timeline on you know, with Thrawn and them. So I'm excited to see what that, how that develops, and where he decides to go. You know, I know, you know, if that was planned to be their final season, then I know it's going to be they're going to be bringing it.
Right. And finishing up with you, Hitch. What are your final thoughts?
Well, I do want to see an X-wing. I know I yelled that because I'm very impatient, but I think that's the last piece of the puzzle here. Is how do we get, like, what's the Rebel Alliance going to do in response to how the Empire is fighting them? So they need something that's more maneuverable. It's got better shields. So they go with the X-wing, right? Why are things set up a certain way? You know, how, like you guys were saying about setting up the fight at Yavin. But I want to see the Emperor start making mistakes. I want to see that grip tighten. I want to see him lose some systems, just like Leia said. I want to see that being brought to a conclusion. And you know what? Darth Vader. But not too early. If he shows up early, it's okay for the Emperor to say, "This is too early in the plot again. Get out of here." And then he goes away for some episodes and then comes back. And of course, you know, checking in with Ahsoka just to tie everything to the Mandalorian and what's going to happen next. Super excited for Boba Fett's episode 2. Usually the first episode, you know, like I said, where you have to get the exposition done. Now we get it. Here comes the story, right? How Boba Fett grabs control over the crime bosses. Love it.
Right. Well, guys, yeah, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming on tonight. We'll be back again to go over Boba Fett, the Book of Boba, Chapter 2, tomorrow. So I hope everybody dress. Yeah, live, of course. So make sure
this is going to be recorded. So this will be after. So we
hope you enjoyed this podcast we're doing tomorrow. Go listen to it now and see if our prediction that it's excellent comes true or not. And if it isn't, don't tell us.
Right.
I'll make sure I put it in my show notes. Spoilers in the show notes and stuff. So.
Spoiler alert, we don't care about your feedback. No, just kidding. We care very much.
But
yeah,
good stuff.
Good stuff, guys. And like I said, we'll get rested up for these next 4 hours. Whoever is bold enough, like Boba Ken, to stay up. You know, Ken's going on a bender tonight, so you know, may the force be with him. But until next week, guys, and actually for those tuning in live, till tomorrow, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Hide the Crown Royal.